welcome back. Well, it's the first month of 2015, so today, how to eat more attractively and how to have better manners in the new year. And to do that, we called in a Miss Manners expert.
Yeah, we did. For more than 3 decades, Margery Sinclair has been teaching etiquette to professionals, college students, and kids. Years ago, she actually taught business manners to executives in Japan, including how to dress for success in the boardroom or on the golf course, which I love. And get this, she's also traveled to 118 countries and circled the world 3 times.
Yes.
That's a lot of traveling.
Yes, that's
and
my,
she does it all
for fun.
because you've been on the show before with one
piece of carry-on
suitcase.
Yes.
It's fascinating.
Unbelievable. I love it. Great to see you.
Thank you for inviting me back.
Thanks for being here. So we're going to talk about how to eat a brownie.
Yes.
Right?
with a knife and fork, and I say right at the beginning, brownies are usually finger food.
Right.
We're doing this to have something here, and Miss Sinclair did not want to prepare a whole meal for by 9 o'clock in the morning.
I get it.
Yes.
Good call.
It's perfect. Okay, before we get into the etiquette rules of how to eat a brownie or do all those things, let's talk just simply about etiquette versus manners. Is there a difference between the two?
Thank you. Yes, because they are similar, but they're not really the same.
Okay.
Etiquette is a French word. It even sounds French, etiquette. And it originally meant ticket in Old French. So knowing the rules of behavior is like your ticket to social success and business success.
Okay.
So all of the rules governing behavior are called etiquette. And if you Google etiquette, you get so many different responses. Sports etiquette is a whole separate subject.
Right.
But it's the rules of behavior. Manners, on the other hand, is an English word, and that refers to your personal behavior.
Oh.
So what's really important is to have good manners. Etiquette is the means to the end. But there's some people who read all the etiquette books, know the rules, don't follow them, and still have bad manners. Good manners is how you treat other people.
Okay,
I like that. I think that's really cool. And what's the rule? You talk about the golden rule versus the platinum rule, and then there's the third rule. What are those?
Well, the golden rule, you should treat other people the way you want to be treated. The platinum rule I learned in a sales course, and that was that you should treat other people the way they want to be treated. That's more difficult because not everyone wants to be treated the same way.
True.
But they give hints, and you need to pay attention.
Okay.
The third rule is, unfortunately, it is bad manners to go around correcting other people's bad manners.
It is?
Yes.
Okay. Not with your kids, though.
Yes.
Then it's okay.
There's an exception for parents and teachers and managers.
Okay. And managers, like business managers?
Yes,
They should teach their kids, they should teach their employees about manners?
They have a responsibility because the employees represent the company.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And when that gets awkward, they call me in to do it.
It's true. Yeah.
Yes.
You had just taught a course in Hawaii not too long ago about all these different things. So you're doing this all the time. You're helping business people, you're helping children and everyone, as Molly said. Let's kind of talk about some of the silverware and the place setting that you brought for us today so that we can learn a little bit. One of the things you talk about are hidden handles when it comes to silverware. What does that mean?
That means when you're cutting, you're going to have hidden handles. So when you pick up the knife and fork, balance it with palms up. Balance it on the tips of your fingers.
Okay.
Put your thumb there to secure it. And the handles are in the center of your palms.
Okay.
Then turn your hands over and you're ready to cut.
Oh.
Okay.
Yes. So your fingers are going to stay on the handles, not getting up to the blade of the knife, but just down here.
Oh.
And turn it over, and you're ready.
Okay. So we're ready.
So now what I suggest, the blade of the knife is your friend. After you cut a bite here, and use the tip of the knife, you're not going to saw back and forth.
Oh, whoops.
You see how you can push this on here?
Yeah.
And
with your knife.
Yes.
You kind of push.
And the fork stays tines down.
Okay.
Okay.
And so you bring this up, and the food comes up to the mouth doesn't go down to the food.
Oh yeah, none of this like this shoveling thing.
That's right.
That's not so good. Okay.
So
did you hear that, Dave?
The tines of the fork are
Don't flip it over, Molly.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to stay right in the center of your palm, the handle. And then it's an extension, arm, hand, fingers, tines of the fork, and it just keeps your fingers clean.
It looks so pretty.
Yes.
It does.
Now, I mean, I cut my food like this. I grew up in northern Wisconsin. But then, after I had cut a bite, with the American style of doing this, I would set the knife down, switch the fork to the right hand.
Always.
Like this, and then bring this up to my mouth this way.
That's what most people do.
Is that okay?
Yes, that's American style. And you're Americans, you live in America, you can eat American style.
Okay.
But when I was living in Tokyo, I was dating a German baron.
We gotta do a segment on that.
I'm sorry, but if you go to lunch ever with Margery, which we do often, it is the most fascinating hour you'll have of your entire life. Okay, when you were dating a German baron,
well, the thing
back
is,
to that.
He cut like this, and then he kept the food, the fork in his left hand, and brought it up to his mouth this way. That's European style.
Keeping the blades
keeping
down.
the blades down?
Yes, because this would hurt.
Right, yeah.
So I had never seen that before, but I immediately knew that his way was much more cool. He, on the other hand, was almost hypnotized by me because I would cut a bite,
Takes so much
set it
time.
down, switch the fork back, eat, switch the fork back, to cut again. So kept switching it back and forth, and he could hardly look at my face. He was kept looking at my plate.
Yeah.
So as I said, his way was much more cool. I practiced in private a few days, and that's what I've been doing ever since.
So that's the European style, and that's a way, it's a little cooler. Okay.
Yes.
So you never have to switch you always have your fork in your left hand.
Yes.
Do you set down the knife then when you go to take the bite?
You may. If you're going to have another bite fairly soon, you just keep on using it.
Okay, so in other words, you have the bite of food here, and you keep the fork like this and put it in your mouth.
Yes.
Wow.
Comes
Okay,
up your
Margery,
mouth
I
this
have
way.
to practice that.
When I was younger, I learned when you're done at an etiquette course, when you're done with your food at the table, you should put your silverware in the center, face down, and that should signal to a server that you're done. However, I don't usually find that servers recognize that anymore.
That assumes the staff has been properly trained. That's assuming a lot.
Is that still the correct rule?
Yes, it is. This is the I am finished position. This means I may not have joined the Clean Plate Club for this meal, but I've eaten all I intend to eat.
Okay, so it's both of them face down.
That's right, with the handles over here towards the right.
Okay.
Meaning, because food is served from the left and cleared from the right, so that if I were the server coming by to pick this up, I could put this, pick my fingers underneath, thumb on top, so the fork doesn't end up in your lap.
Okay.
I see. Okay.
I find that a lot of servers don't know that cue. They'll still ask or whatnot, but I'm glad to know that that's still the rule.
So the thing to be sure of, though, is that all the food is served at the same time. People start eating at the same time. If you are usually the first one finished, then you're a speed eater. Or if you're usually the last one finished, then you're a slowpoke. You should
or talking too much.
Yes, or to finish, eat approximately at the same speed.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And then servers have no problem. The table finishes about the same time.
What about napkins? As soon as you sit down, should the napkin go in your lap?
Yes, that's the first thing you do.
Right away?
Even before food's on the table?
Yes.
Okay.
When you sit down.
What about when you're done or you leave the table? Where does the napkin go then?
Well, first thing, don't leave the table during the meal. Before the meal started, you went to the bathroom, you blew your nose, you washed your hands. You should be okay for an hour or so because we don't expect sick people to go to dinner parties. So it's going to stay on your lap.
Okay, stays on your lap.
As soon as you touch this, restaurants now call it dirty linen, which sounds harsh.
Yeah.
It's not even wrinkled.
Right.
But it's been used. We don't want them to come by later and say, this looks pretty good, put it at another place.
Right.
No, we like to think it came straight from the laundry. So you're going to keep it on your lap for the whole time. The exception is if you're at a buffet and you want a second helping. So you leave your first plate
Is that good
here.
manners?
Yeah, then you set the
To have
napkin.
a second helping?
Yeah.
At a buffet, yes.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So you would set the napkin on the seat of the chair.
Okay.
Go back to the buffet and get your second helping. Leave your first plate here. You get a clean plate at the buffet. As you come back, the first plate should have been cleared away. You sit down, you pick up your napkin, and you replace it on your lap. Now, when everyone has finished, and they're still talking at the table, keep your napkin on your lap.
Okay. Not on the center of the plate.
No.
That happens a lot.
Yeah, or even on the side here. This looks messy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
And imagine if there's lipstick or food stains on it, it's even worse. So if people are seated at the table, the napkin is not on the table.
Okay.
So you shouldn't signify again to a server or something by putting your napkin over your plate.
No.
Okay.
That's rude.
No.
Quickly.
Tiffany.
Not necessary.
You mentioned that brownies are usually a finger food. There's an opportunity, especially at parties, for people to eat a lot of finger food.
Yes.
What is the proper way to eat finger food?
And remain attractive?
Yes. And remain attractive. Yes.
Yeah. Small bites.
Okay.
Small bites, small sips, everything. The mouth has two functions, talking and eating, alternate them.
I like that. Okay. I want to read something from your book really quick because we're going to put up the information about this. And did you flag this for me?
I did for today.
Today's good manners.
January 26th.
Okay, the tip is family dinners are the best way to teach young children not to eat like animals. Educators call this spaced, repetitious learning. You teach them how to hold the silverware and contribute to the conversation. Then you remind them gently again and again and again. I like that.
You start with toddlers, and the goal is to live with well-mannered teenagers.
I love that. That's fantastic. And people can get a copy of this.
Absolutely. This is a year of good manners. It's also a date book. It's really great. You can find it on Margery's website. It's regularly $27.95, but now through the end of January for special, it's $20. So you can head to MargerySinclair.com to get your copy. You're going to stick around. You're going to do speed etiquette for us. And
I love it.
we love that you're kind enough to do that. Thank you so much, Margery.
I love it. And this this book is a perpetual calendar, so you
Yes.
can put birthdays, anniversaries, whatever in here, along with the good manners tips, which is a fun thing to have, so you don't have to write it over and over again.
And if you still have your parents or grandparents, have them in their handwriting, writing the birthdays of their parents and grandparents, and now you have a record of 5 generations.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Anniversaries,
I like that.
everything.
Thank you.
All right, thank you,
welcome.
Margery.
Welcome back to the Morning Blend. Well, you've heard of speed dating, so why not speed etiquette? Margery Sinclair is an expert in good manners. She is here to answer a whole bunch of questions quickly, concisely, and of course, politely.
Always.
I love it. Should you stand when being introduced?
Yes, and
Always.
there's 2 reasons for it. Yes, because for instance, now, how old do you feel, young lady? Yeah, there is still a height advantage in our society, but it also shows respect for the other person. A lot easier to have eye contact when you're on the same level here.
Okay.
So show respect for the other person.
Okay, even when at a dinner table, should you always stand?
Oh, if you've already been seated and the other person is seated, no.
Okay. Okay.
Although if it's a large table and I just finding my place there, I didn't know anyone else, I would walk around the table introducing myself, and I imagine those other people would then stand up because I was standing.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like that naturally still
In case of
happens
doubt,
a
do
lot.
it, yes.
You say there's an identifying phrase when meeting people, or you should have that. What does that mean?
That helps people place each other. So if I were to introduce the 2 of you and then say, excuse me, I'll be right back, what are you going to talk about? All right, so if I say, and I'm going to use children's examples because that's quickest in my mind, if I say, Molly just got back from Disney World and Tiffany is captain of her soccer team, would you excuse me a moment? So you've got
Perfect.
something,
You set them up.
some relationship to each other. Yeah, she was my college roommate, and we met at the Brookfield sales office.
Got it.
Perfect.
I like that because
Yep.
it gives a touchstone for people. It's a conversation
Help to
starter.
get it started.
What is a good conversation starter?
You start general, and you're going to look for overlapping interests, common interests, and then you go to the more specific. So let's say you even started just talking about the weather. It was just beautiful outside today. And the other person says, yes, I hope it continues because I've got a golf tournament this weekend. Okay, you know he's interested in golf. Now you can get on to something else.
Okay. So add something, too, about yourself or something
Yes.
for the conversation.
And the
I like
easiest
that.
way to keep it going is after someone has asked you a question and you answered it fully, like, have you seen any good movies lately? You answer it, and then you say, ask the same question right back to the other person. How about you? Have you seen any good movies lately?
You sort of parrot it
Yes.
to give them an opportunity.
They wouldn't have asked about movies if they didn't have some interest. So
Got it.
you get it going.
Yep, the volley of a conversation. 3 parts of a first impression. What are they?
Yeah. First part is posture and weight. Second is clothing, and not just nice clothing. Is it appropriate for the time and place? And third is your face. Largely your smile, but you can't smile unless you have smiling eyes. If you just smile with the mouth, it looks cold. Fake. Yes.
But posture and weight,
Yes.
the size of a person is,
Yeah.
is always part of that first impression.
It's visual. And character is discerned last of all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You have to get to know someone a little more about that.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, you know, because we're visual people. That's
Yes.
really all you're going off when you first see someone.
all you have.
And you know, I know that there's all these rules about how long it takes to create a first impression, but how long it takes to get rid of a first impression.
Oh.
It's so much longer. So just knowing those
to
things.
correct a bad
Yes.
first impression, and sometimes you don't get chances on that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so good to know. RSVP, what does the R stand for?
Oh. I try not to pound the table at this point, but the R stands for respond.
Hello.
What does a host most want to know? They want to know how many people are coming.
Yeah.
So the SVP is from a French phrase, s'il vous plaît, which just is the most polite way to say if you
Respond,
please.
please.
Yeah.
But respond, yes.
Okay,
Okay.
what about in English? Oh, that is the
then-
respond, please.
yes.
Or s'il vous plaît is the French. Okay, I got it.
Répondez, s'il vous plaît.
Okay, got it. Should you answer your cell phone while dining, and then also answer that question as it relates to texting?
What do you think I'm going to say?
No, you're going to say put it
Hello?
away.
You know, if we're out to lunch and we've been having a nice conversation, and I get out my cell phone, it's as if I'm saying, you're not very interesting people,
Right.
but I do have some interesting friends. I'll just check in with them now. And when your chin is going down like this, am I fooling anyone?
No.
No. So, no, put your cell phones away. Again, I saw a picture once recently on the internet. 2 kids look like college age, and they're apparently on a date, and their glasses here on the table, and they're both checking their cell phones and paying no attention to each other. There's no one there to object. Apparently, they don't mind.
No.
But
Right.
if other people are not doing this, don't do this, and certainly don't do it in business either.
Yeah. Good. I think it's a great thing to remember. At a business meal, when is it appropriate to order alcohol, or do you always gracefully decline?
A lot of companies have a one or none rule. I would suggest none. On the other hand, if your client you know, as part of hospitality, you're the host, you have taking a client out. As part of hospitality, we offer food and drink. Would you like some wine with your meal? And if the client says yes, I would order a glass of wine also.
Okay.
I would not have the second one.
Gotcha. So
And
sip it.
Yes, yes, And for every glass of alcoholic beverage that you have, order a glass of water, a big glass of water, and don't order the second one until you finish that big glass of water.
All
All
right.
right, really quickly, we're going to go through these. When you are a guest in someone's home, can you politely refuse food that you don't want?
No, thank you.
Okay,
Yes.
that's okay.
And it's not good manners to insist and give it to me anyway.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I like this one. Should you cover your mouth at the beginning of a yawn, the second half, or don't bother at all?
Please, at the beginning, half your face disappears into a black gaping hole.
Shouldn't you do the whole yawn?
Yes.
Okay.
Right at the beginning.
Yes.
For the whole thing.
For the whole yawn.
At a business dinner, when do you turn it to conversation about business, and who does that?
It should be the host. So you don't sit down and order and immediately start talking business. Wait until after the main course or perhaps during the main course, and it should be the host. Now, if the guest doesn't know this and starts talking about business, the client is never wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair. Thank you notes, handwritten or email?
First choice is handwritten, because how many times do you get a handwritten note during the day,
Means
during the
something.
meal? It does. So, but there's a place for email business notes in business, and especially after a job interview, and you ask when will the decision be made, and they say by Wednesday, and so you don't have time to go through the
Yes.
mail. So email today a thank you note to everybody who interviewed you, and then follow it up with a handwritten interview.
And quickly, does a socially graceful person have both company manners and everyday manners?
Sounds like a good idea. The answer is no. You should only have one set of manners. Those are your company manners, and those are the ones you use every day.
Love it.
I like it.
I
Here's
love
your
it.
book one
You're
more
so
time.
great.
Yeah, I love it. There is a calendar in this book. It's a perpetual calendar, so you can keep track of birthdays and anniversaries. And again, there's a discount if you go to Margery's website and order the book. It's margerysinclair.com.
Thanks, Margery.
You're welcome.
Great to see you.